What's the early read on this offense as they get going into camp under Ben Johnson?
Well, today wasn't a great day. Like, there's no way of sugarcoating it. The red zone offense was a struggle. But if you ask coaches, if you ask players, they're going to tell you that they're not even through the entire part, not even through the entire install yet, only a big portion of it through 3 days. So they're not concerned right now. That's the caveat. I think that you look at this offense knowing what Ben Johnson wants to install and know that they've got a long way to go, because they don't even know what type of run scheme they're going to be. Johnson said it the other day. He doesn't know if they're going to be wide zone, if they're going to be a gap scheme. I think you can look back to his Detroit offenses and get a good hint for what you think they're going to be this year. But the early part of camp has been a lot of ups and downs. There have been some good moments from Caleb Williams. He rebounded today after going 0 for 9 initially in the red zone. It took till his 10th pass attempt for him to come away with a completion. It's been like that the early part of training camp, which I guess is to be expected in new offenses, and everybody's learning this new offense. But of course, when it's Caleb Williams, #1 overall pick, the quarterback that this franchise hedged a lot on, people want to see that come quicker than it might come to fruition. So that's really where they're at through the first 3 days of camp, and then they'll go into pads next week.
So we heard about early in camp when the offense didn't line up right. Ben Johnson took the whole first team offense off the field. Compare and contrast last year's regime. Matt Eberflus, now he came in as a defensive guy and supposedly ran a tough camp as well. But how is the air of the camp compared to the new and old regime?
It feels quicker. And what I mean by that is it doesn't feel like there's much wasted time in between sessions, in between periods. And certainly they got up to a 2-hour practice 3 days in. I can't remember the last time the Bears got into it that quickly when they weren't in pads. Now, that's not to say that Matt Eberflus didn't have tough practices. I do feel like some of the narrative that's played out with players thinking that they weren't coached hard, that they weren't held accountable, some of that was... So a lot of it's true, but some of it is definitely overplayed, because it's not like Matt Eberflus with his HITS principle acronym didn't come in here demanding that players practice hard. There were certainly, I can remember my early days on the beat here, some times where it was almost like, this is way too physical, even for a practice that they're in pads. But there's an intentionality here that we've seen with Ben Johnson that I think speaks to a different level of accountability with this coaching staff than the previous one.